Hiya folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. So a few weeks ago I did a video on float ledgering, and in that particular video I didn't use any specialised float. I just used a standard waggler float, and that was because the pond was only about 3.5 to 4 feet deep. So the question is, what happens when you get sort of 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, 20 feet deep? Well, the answer then is that you tend to look at one of these things, which is the Polaris version of a float ledgering float. There is another type called Locslide, does the same job, but the mechanism at the bottom here is different. Now, before I even start with this, some of you are going to say, well, okay, if it's 15 feet deep where you're fishing, just throw out a feeder or a bomb. Or some of you might turn around and say, you don't need to do that, you can use a slider float. And yeah, you could do all of that. You could even just get a pole out and plonk it in and you'd be fine. But not everybody has a pole, not everybody wants to feed a fish, and not everybody has actually got the experience to fish with a slider, because that's slightly more specialised. So this is a very, very simple method of achieving the aim. And the aim is mostly for people to watch the float. Having said that, obviously it's also good for rough conditions, which we don't have today, but when it's windy, these are very good as well. And also, if you've got wind, you're going to have undertow. So let's assume that the wind is going this way. The undertow is likely to be going that way. And in this pond, it can get quite fierce because it's more of a bowl sort of a shaped pond. Now this place is, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 feet deep, something like that further out. And so today, I'm just going to go through how to set up and use the Polaris float. Not everybody's going to want to use one, but for those of you that do, this is the video. Okay, so here's the float, standard Polaris float. It may not look quite the same as the ones that you've bought. I've repainted this and added on a bit of extra stuff on here, just to give me the ability to change tips. So in all other respects, it is the standard Polaris float. And what you do is, if you're using up to 6 pounds line, you put the line, main line, down through the hole and it comes out the other side. Now this is what they call a friction device, which is basically friction. This has got a curve in the channel down here, so what happens is, if I just get a bit of line off, this float moves up and down on the line, as you see, like that. But if you put a bit of pressure on it, like that rather, it actually stays, and then when you release the pressure, it drops down. And that's the principle of this float. Very simple, actually. Right, so down the line then, here's the end of the line again. If you're going to fish with a bomb, which I've got here somewhere, here we go, you can just take an ordinary bomb with a clip swivel or a link swivel, pass that on, and then if you want to be really, really basic and you're only going to be fishing with a bomb and not with a feeder, which I'll come back to in a second, you can tie on one of these little clips. Now this is the speed link or speed something or other from Guru. There's lots of these things around. And basically all I'm going to do is put the line through the plastic cover. Bear with me a tick. There we go. Through the plastic cover, and then you've effectively just got a swivel with a little sort of a hook on the end. So you can put that on with a tucked half blood knot. If you haven't done one of these before, I've done a video for that to show you how to do it, and I'll put a link up there now. Right, 4 turns, back through the loop where your finger is, and back through the loop that's just made. Pull it semi-tight, but not tight. Wet it, always wet notch. Draw it up tight. And that's it done. And if I just reach down here and grab my cover, right, so the cover just goes on over the top and you can pull it up into there, and then you put your hook length on the end there like that. That's very simple. Now in actual fact, tangle around the rod. Okay, so if I let the line come down, and I just picked up a load of rubbish when I did it, because there's all sorts of rubbish in this swim. It's not all sunshine and roses, is it? Let's get rid of that. Okay, so really, in effect, if I wanted to, that would be the float, which slides up and down. It comes down to that little bead, and you've got your ledger weight on there. And then all you do is put a hook length on here, using the loop, just to loop into here. And in its simplest form, that would be it. But as I mentioned a minute ago, you can actually use a feeder for this kind of thing. And so I set mine up slightly differently. So if I go back from where we were, I'll show you exactly how I set mine up. So first of all then, you thread your float on in the usual way, and you thread on your bomb with the swivel in exactly the same as before. But this time, we get one of these things. It's a Twizzle boom. Now, I've actually done a video which was called Cage Feeder Rig Setup or something like that, where you can actually twizzle these things up on the bank, but I found that a bit time consuming, and because I've got arthritis, a bit of a pain, so I make up these little ones at home. All it is a swivel on a twizzle bit of boom with a loop in the end there, just to take your hook length. And normally what I do is to take a small bead, pass it on the line, and then tie the line onto the swivel. Exactly the same as before, tucked half blood knot. So now what we've got then, if we go back to the rig itself, floats down the line as before. This time we've got the running link ledger, and the bead is only there just to protect the knot on the swivel. This is kind of a rubber bead, so it kind of sits on there. But if you notice, it also holds everything away, and that'll become important in just a second. Before I talk about the feeder though, which is what we're going to do there, let's put a hook length on. So here's the hook length, and we're going to just do a loop to loop knot. So main line through the hook length loop, take your hook and push that through the loop of the Twizzle boom, dress it down, and that's it done. Straightforward loop to loop knot. So now what we've got is a rig which is pretty much set up and ready to go. Obviously you can change these lengths of hook length if you want. At the moment it's about 8 inches plus about 4 inches for the Twizzle boom, so you've got about 12 inches, 30 centimeters altogether. And you can see how that, whoops, stuck my hook in myself. See how that Twizzle boom holds away from the ledger weight. But at some point today I'm going to fish with a feeder. I'm only going to use a small feeder, but I've taken off the ledger weight. The feeder has a swivel on it, so put that on, clip it on, and away we go. Well, his wind's a bit strong just now. It's coming up from behind me, causing me a few problems. There we go. Right, so the link needs to be just a little bit longer than this link from here to here. So sometimes you may make up these links with a sort of a slightly longer boom on there, Twizzle boom. And if you haven't seen me make one of these Twizzle booms, I did do a video recently where I showed you how to make these, and I'll put again a link up there so you can see what I'm doing. But effectively, that's the rig. Okay, so just before we cast in then, I've got £6 main line on for the Twizzle boom and a £4 hook link to a size 14 hook. Although actually thinking about that, that could be a 12 because I didn't actually look to see which one I was taking out. It just looked about right. And that's it. The float is locked at that position, which is about 60 centimeters or so away. And if you watch what happens, it stays in position. Now, I've got this set up on the clip here so that the camera down here, when I cast in, can see what I'm doing because it's going to go in exactly the same place. I wouldn't always recommend that you have the thing clipped up, but for me, it's something I've got to do to be able to show you. And if I get this right, like that, it hits, it goes under, just put the rod tip under the water, make sure the line's sunk, there we go, and then you have to let line out. Now, I wouldn't really recommend that you backwind on this because you can get tangles if it gets a little bit trapped under the rod rest there. So I just release a little bit of line, and now, there we go, that's it, come up. Now, I actually release a little bit more than that, so it's almost lying flat. That means I'm going to be slightly over depth. It does mean that the bomb or the feeder is here, and when I draw tight, instead of being straight up to the float will be more at this angle, and I find that helps. So let's just draw that in. There we go. And hopefully we've got all this on that camera down there. And that's all there is to it. Actually, that's not quite all there is to it. I should point out that when you reel in, now just imagine you were fishing in a 10 or 12 foot deep swim. As you can see, if I bring this in, hopefully I can get this all in shot for you. This is a 12 foot rod. Normally I've got a bigger rod, which I'd probably use, but for the purposes of this demonstration, a lot of people are going to have a 12 foot rod, or maybe even shorter. But you can see, excuse me, that the float is fairly close to the rod tip, the bomb is here, and the actual bait, if I can get to it, is here. So that actually makes it quite a sort of unwieldy sort of a setup. You'll also notice that the float isn't coming down on the line. So what happens is, when you get the thing in, just draw it in and then literally wind in like that until you've got about a metre or so of line. And now you've got something which is manageable to cast again. That's going to be locked on there as you cast, and it's a very straightforward and simple thing to get back out there. I've actually lost a bit of bait while I was doing that, so I'll just put that back on and do exactly the same as I showed you a minute ago. I'm going to retain it on the line clip for now so you can continue to see what's going on the other camera. Just get everything sunk as I showed you before, and when that's down, make sure the rod tip stays under the water for all of this. You don't want any curvature of the line because it's on the surface. That just creates drag and means that your float just struggles to stay up. And there we go. Okay, just lower it a bit further out like I said, and then just tighten back up so you can see exactly what you need to see. Just gently at the end, and there we go. It's actually a very sensitive method. Now all I've got to do is see if I can catch one or two. It's been about 3/4 of an hour since I first cast in, and the weather's not the best today. It's been raining in between times, and it's not looking all that great. And that's always a good excuse for not getting bites, but I haven't had a bite yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the bomb. So remember, reel in, then when it gets to the tip of the rod, keep reeling. It doesn't kink the line or anything, to about a metre away, and then release. And now I can just change that bomb over for a feeder and a clip swivel. This is the one I showed you earlier. It's just a very small one, probably about 15 grams or so. And in fact, the ledger weight I had on was also about 15 grams or half an ounce. So as I explained then, I'll just put some feed in here, and in all other respects it's exactly the same as we did before. I've still got bait on. Hopefully you can see this, but the hook length is being held away nice and neatly from the feeder by that Twizzle boom. So back out again. Sink the line, and then exactly the same procedure as with the ledger weight. There we go, bit of extra, and then just tighten up. There we go. And that's how easy it is to change between either a ledger weight or a feeder. Just hopefully the feeder will give me a few more bites. Oh, hang on. That was just bobbing then, and again. Now there are a lot of fry around at the moment, and they were bouncing off the float earlier on, but I'm hopefully picking this up on this one down here, because you're not going to believe this little twitches. Not even proper liners which do that. This is this kind of thing. Well, I really don't know what's going on there. Still, there was something around it, wasn't there? And just wind down. Straightforward method though, isn't it, guys? And here comes the rain again. All I need. Left the umbrella up at the car. Had a brainwave. I happen to know that there are some freshwater mullet in here. So I've just got 2 discs of 10mm bread, and I've just put them through the punch, and I'm wondering if the mullet are having a go at the ground bait, and that's what's causing the situation I'm experiencing here. And of course I've just had to go up to get an umbrella because it's raining again, which is a bit of a pain, frankly. Right. That's about it. See what happens this time. Any minute now I'm going to have to put the umbrella up because I'm starting to get wet. And yes! Got something anyway. Not sure what it is. I think it's a mullet. These things don't have to go, but it's only a small one. You can see the float's trapped up the line still. That's not a problem. Whoa! These things can shift. They may not have the stamina of a carp, but they've certainly got some speed. See what I mean? Well, I thought it was them. Mullets are notoriously difficult to actually hook up. I know it's quite just when you think you got him in. I don't quite know how they take it, but they just don't seem to be there when you strike half the time. It's a nice fish. Makes a change from carp, doesn't it? Whoa! This one's got bags of stamina, hasn't he? Right. Let's see how we go with this. Let's get the net ready. I'm trying to avoid that camera again. Okay. Doesn't want to give up, does he? Get away from there. Right, come on, fish. There's all weed down in front of me here. I'm getting in the net. Right, it's not actually a massive mullet. A friend of mine had one the other day in here, which was over £5. Whew, okay. Let's get this hook out and see all the rubbish. Oh, that's a nice fish though. Just won't keep still now. Right in the top lip. Okay, I'll just throw this out of the way and lift him up and show him to you. Whoa! Kind of slimy and slippery. Right, let's try that again, shall we? There he is, look. See how thick he is across the top? That's a really nice fish. Slimy though. See all the slime coming off him? Just what I didn't need, but I'm not complaining. A few more of them and I'll be happy today. Just as long as I can get this rain to stay off. Whew. Right, let's crack on. See if we get bites straight away again this time. It really must have been those fish pecking away at the feeder. And obviously mullet don't like sweet corn as much as they do bread, so the bread's obviously what's done the trick. Float's bouncing up down like a yo-yo, and finally got it. That's another mullet, I think. Oof. I don't know, it might not be. It might be a carp. Oh no, that's a mullet. You can always tell, they shoot off. Yeah, got a flying mullet this time. Oh, has he stuck in some weed down there? Yeah, he snagged up on some undersurface weed. Oh, there we go, we're off. Oof. I think this one must be a bit bigger than the last one. Got to be careful because there's all sorts of weed down in the edge down here. Right. Dragging some weed around with me, but that's all right. Yeah, these things definitely don't know when to give up. Certainly not as much fun as catching carp, they definitely are. More explosive at times though. And the speed of the things. Like that. Right, is he ready yet? Never know with these things. Okay. Out there. Get out there, get out there, get out. There we go. Got him. Oh, it's a nice one. That is a good one. Let's stop that from moving. And there's the hook. Oh, he's actually swallowed the hook on this one. Okay, we've got the hook back, that's the main thing. Plenty of rubbish on the rig. Also caught me finger, ouch. I don't care. Now this is not too long a fish, but very wide. Look at that. Ouch. Got spines as well, which just jabbed me. But again, look how wide he is across the back. That's a nice mullet. That really is a good fish. Just a shame about all the slime. Okay, so what I'm going to do this time, it's what I do quite often anyway, is you probably saw when I was filling up the feeder that the feeder itself goes down to the float, which is a bit of a stretch, so I'm just going to take a number 4 shot, and at about 450 millimeters, 45 centimeters, I'm just going to put on a number 4 shot. Just makes it more comfortable when I'm filling the feeder. Instead of it being right down there, it stops on the shot, look. Okay, so exactly the same as before. But this time much easier. I'm soaking wet as well, look. That's not from the rain, it's from the fish, which is a good thing. This time, yeah. Ooh, that came off. It was a big fish though. I don't know if that took the hook length, it was that good. Yeah. I think I might need a stronger hook length, that literally took the lot. Oh well, my fault this time, not the rig. Okay, this time I've gone to a slightly stronger hook length. And definitely on a 12 hook this time, because these fish aren't going to care about that. Let's get that through there. Okay, I'll get some bait on, I'll get back out there. got him. Whoa, another mullet. Oof. Oh, I was starting to wonder there. I lost that fish and didn't really have many bites for a while there. This one isn't doing the explosive thing, but you watch in a minute when I get him down here. He doesn't want to come in, does he? There he goes, look. Not going off on those explosive runs like the other ones did, but fighting well. I don't think he's as big actually. Yeah, he's not as big, but look at that. Even now he's still managing to take some line when he wants to. Amazing. I've slackened the clutch off just a little bit because those explosive first runs that snapped off that hook length, I didn't want to allow that to happen anymore, so just taking that little bit of extra off the clutch and allowing them to run if they need to, hopefully done the trick. Come on fish, you don't want to give up, do you? This time maybe, and go for the reeds. Come on, got some power. Right, this time fish. He doesn't want to know about that net. Come on, go around. Every time I lift the net anywhere near him, he just disappears. There we go, got him. Oof. Well, that was hard work. Oh, he's a good fish actually. Shame about all this rubbish on the tackle. Oh yeah, not bad at all. And I actually hooked him just on the outside of the lip. So, right, let's have a quick squiz. Hope he doesn't jag me again. We've got these sharp fins at places. There we are, look. Again. And you see the mouth? Not the huge mouths, but I think they can be quite bony. Oops. We'll get him back in. Getting bobs and dibs. Yeah, got it. Oof. It came up to the surface and decided to fight there, but now he's gone off to the left. This is a bigger fish. I don't quite know what this is. Oh, it's got me in that weed. There's a whole pile of it down there. Damn. Oh. It's off, and it's me in the reed. That weed grows from the bottom to the surface, and it just took me straight in there. Well, we might be without one Polaris after this. Ah dear. Let's see how this goes. Oh, I think we're okay. Yeah, this is the stuff that grows from the bottom to the top, and there's a whole bank of it down there, which that fish took me into. That was a good fish though. I don't know how much you could see of the fight. I certainly don't think you could probably see the fish on the surface, but it was a good fish. Yeah, I managed to pull the hook length for a break, look, which is good. That's what it's designed to do. All right, do I give it one more go? We might just do that, eh? Far too much fun to go home just yet. Oh. Yeah. Nope. It fell off again. They've got those kind of mouths, unfortunately, and that's just the way it goes. Alright, we're going to have one more cast. Again. That one actually came up to the surface and shook the hook out of its mouth. Apparently, it's not uncommon for these mullet to be exceptionally difficult to keep the hook in as well. At least that's my excuse, and I'm staying with it. Oof, got him this time. Definitely a mullet, the way he's going off. Just try and keep him away from all that green stuff that side. I don't know how much green stuff there is this side, but hey, we're going to find out. He's actually come in right down. Yeah, I thought he'd take off a bit, because he's right under the rod top there. Where are we? Oh yeah, we're over there. Right, whatever happens on this one, we're calling it quits after this. There he is, definitely a mullet. Ah! Pulled out of him. Ah! That's what I said. I think they've got a bony top lip or something. I can't remember exactly. I mean, the hook's still fine. Look, no problem with that. But as I say, that seems to be the way of things with mullet. Anyway, main thing is I've really enjoyed myself. On top of that, hopefully you've seen that this rig can be really effective. To be honest, the way these things are biting, if I'd have used a feeder rig on a tip today, I don't know how well I'd have done with that either. I might have had one or two, I might not. I know I would have been frustrated, but I probably wouldn't have had as much fun as I have with this Polaris Float. And I have to admit, it's been a long time since I'd used the Polaris Float. Normally I just either go to a feeder, a slider or a pole, like I said right at the start. But I might just have another go at this at some point, depending on the day. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you did too, of course. And that's the primary concern, to make sure that you got what you needed out of it. And so I think that's about it for the day then, guys. As I say, hope you enjoyed it. As usual, if you did, click the button. If you want to subscribe, you can do that too. And until the next time, bye for now.